Hello everybody, you're welcome back again to the Reggae Appreciation Society. By the dawn of the 1970s, reggae was the fastest growing genre of music on the planet, and the whole world really began to get fascinated with Jamaica and its wonderful culture. And as usual, once an opportunity arises, businessmen jump right in to take advantage. Jamaican-born Chris Blackwell was the first internationally inclined entrepreneur to recognize Jamaican music as a global product. But as the genre reached its peak in the 70s, his dominance was challenged by a young and eccentric British entrepreneur named Richard Branson. Branson's Virgin Records would swoop in and stage something of a coup by signing many existing and upcoming brilliant acts before Island Records could pick them up. This London native would pull this off via a stunning charm offensive in the form of a 3-week escapade in the gritty streets of Kingston, alongside punk rocker Johnny Rotten, filmmaker and journalist Don Letts, and photographer Dennis Morris. A move that practically turned Jamaica's music scene upside down and helped to launch reggae's international presence even higher, and was testament to Branson's legendary go-getter spirit, keen eye for business, and unorthodox methods that's made him among the most successful businessmen to emerge in the 20th century. By 1976, it had been 4 years since Branson and his partner Nick Powell had grown Virgin from a humble record store into a big-time record label, which had popular names like Mike Oldfield, 10cc, and punk rock icons the Sex Pistols. Branson had identified the huge market for reggae that was being driven by the strong UK Caribbean community, and signed his first reggae artist, B.B. Seaton, and released his album Dancing Shoes in 1974. By 1975, Virgin Records had signed U-Roy and released his album Dread in a Babylon. The runaway success of that album would shock Branson, as the global demand for U-Roy's music in places like Nigeria was so high that he was forced to charter jumbo jets loaded with U-Roy's records and fly them out there to meet the demand. And this prompted an aggressive search for upcoming talent in Jamaica, and by 1976, he was toe-to-toe with Island Records by snatching up and unleashing the debut albums of the likes of the Abyssinians, the Mighty Diamonds, Culture, and the Gladiators. And Virgin Records would also sign I-Roy in that same period. The phenomenal commercial success of the Mighty Diamonds' debut album, Right Time, would help launch Virgin into the big time globally. It did so well sales-wise that Branson got the brainwave to register a new label dedicated exclusively to reggae releases. So in early 1978, he registered the Frontline Record label and hatched a plan to travel to Jamaica himself and take the next generation of reggae superstars under his wing. He would recruit Johnny Rotten, the front man of then-defunct Virgin Records punk band, the Sex Pistols, to be his A&R or talent scout, as Johnny was a huge reggae fan and had grown up with Jamaican immigrants in inner-city London. And Branson also got legendary filmmaker and journalist Don Letts, as well as legendary photographer Dennis Morris, to come along. So in a matter of days, the four men were on a plane to sunny, bright Kingston, Jamaica. And those days were the very dangerous and hazardous time on the island due to all the political violence and a very militarized state of emergency. But Johnny Rotten was very popular in Jamaica and would seamlessly adapt to the rhythm of the city. So Branson and his team checked into the luxurious Sheraton Hotel and paid for an entire floor for 3 weeks. After settling in and gorging themselves on the finest lobster and drinks that money could buy, they went to work in looking for the talent that they came for. Johnny Rotten led this move by hitting the streets, studios, sound system dances, and nightclubs, and spreading the word that Branson was in town and that his pockets were full. And while Island Records always signed conventional reggae artists, Frontline Records was in the market for more radical edgy acts as well as DJs and toasters. The first artist to come looking for them at the hotel was none other than Big Youth, who came to meet them by the hotel swimming pool with his cassette player, and he would play a couple of songs for them. Branson liked what he heard, and when Johnny gave the all clear, Branson asked him how much he wanted for an album. Big Youth responded that he wanted 20 grand, and immediately Branson told him to come back the next day to pick up the cash. The news spread quickly, and before you knew it, established names like the Heptones, I-Roy, and even artists like U-Roy, the Gladiators, and the Abyssinians, who had worked with Virgin before, were all lining up to see Branson and get a new deal for this new label. They would walk in and either sing or play their music, and so far it was good enough, Branson's dollars would flow. Dennis Morris revealed in an interview a while back that practically every musician from every nook and cranny of Jamaica found their way to Kingston and besieged the Sheraton Hotel, all hoping to become the next Frontline Records artist. But Branson and his guys didn't just stay holed up in the hotel, mind you, as they would explore the city to see it for themselves. They will see the fun as well as the rugged side of Kingston, like one night at a massive sound system dance in Trenchtown, where the neighborhood rude boys fired their guns in the air anytime the selector played a tune that they liked. Branson and his crew thought the venue was under attack and lay on the floor in terror. And Dennis Morris will see the mafia-type nature of Jamaica's music industry after a chat with Albert Griffiths and Clinton Fearon of the Gladiators. They had described their record deal to Morris, and when he told them how unfair their then existing record deals actually were, he was visited by two armed men who warned him at gunpoint never to interfere with their artists ever again. So after 3 weeks of booze, partying, plenty of herb, and of course, lots of auditions and scouting, Frontline Records has signed a roster of artists that included the Gladiators, Prince Far Eye, the Twinkle Brothers, Johnny Clark, Big Youth, Tapazuki, and Althea and Donna. A master stroke that saw Frontline Records score a huge chunk of superstars from a city that had been the exclusive stomping ground of Island Records. Simply overflowing with talent, Frontline Records would unleash 46 albums over the next 18 months. But instead of a glorious takeoff, that label closed down within 2 years due to poor commercial results. Apparently, the brilliant music with its militant and deep-root sound were of course critically acclaimed, but target audiences of America and Europe were not just ready at the time, as they were more accepting of, I dare say, lighter and radio-friendly reggae material that Island Records were churning out from artists like Bob Marley and Third World. I believe Frontline Records would have been a major success if they had come out about 5 years later, but that label was just too far ahead of its own time. But it wasn't the end of Branson's romance with reggae though, as Virgin Records would continue to roll out reggae artists' music like Linton Kwesi Johnson, Aswad, and most notably Peter Tosh for the albums Wanted Dread and Alive and Mama Africa. After Bob's passing in 1981, Branson flew to Jamaica to sign the next big name in Peter Tosh, but Peter wasn't interested and then let him into his compound. But Branson was determined and would sit outside Peter's gate for 2 whole days until Peter agreed to let him in. And he only agreed to sign for Virgin Records after Branson agreed to smoke a foot-long spliff with him, and the rest is history. Ultimately, Branson's Frontline Records didn't turn out to be a success in terms of numbers, but its music and releases are today celebrated as all-time classics. And for what it's worth, Branson's 3-week musical expedition to Jamaica in 1978 has become a notable chapter in the wonderful history of reggae music. So there you have it. Thank you for watching this video today. Please leave a like, subscribe, and until next time, God bless.